My name is Marcus Reed. I'm 42 years old. I live just outside Charleston, South Carolina. I built homes, fixed broken roofs, rewired basements, and even ran my own renovation crew for nearly 2 decades. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the demolition that happened inside my own marriage. I remember it like a cold slap to the face. I was standing in our kitchen, still wearing my work boots, dust on my shirt, tired from a 10-hour shift, when she turned to me and said, "You're just dead weight, Marcus," holding me back. At first, I thought I heard her wrong. I mean, this was the woman I'd bought the house for, paid every bill, cooked for when she worked late, held through her panic attacks. The woman I once drove 6 hours just to surprise with flowers on her birthday. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it didn't feel real. Dead weight. That's what I had become to her. She told me she needed space, that I was stuck in the past, that she had plans now, big ones. Then she rolled her suitcase through the doorway of the house I had paid for and left. But here's the part that she didn't know. While she was off planning a new life, I had already started planning something else. Because in less than 90 days, she would lose the very house she walked out of, the one she tried to sell behind my back, and she'd learn the hard way. Dead weight sinks fast, especially when it's holding the deed. For a long time, I truly believed we had something real. Her name was Tasha, 36, bright, driven, the kind of woman who walked into a room and knew how to take command of it. We met at a community event. I was working a volunteer renovation project for a local church. She was there representing a small startup clothing brand. We hit it off fast. She liked that I worked with my hands, said it made me real compared to the type she dated before. I liked that she had ambition. She was always scribbling business ideas into her leather-bound planner, dreaming of turning her online boutique into something big. Back then, it felt like we balanced each other out. I handled the gritty, physical stuff. She handled the style, the vision. And we always said we'd build our empire together. The first year was like a movie. Sunday morning breakfasts. Evenings on the porch. She'd sit on the steps of the house I was slowly restoring, coffee in one hand, clipboard in the other, talking about future plans, a guest house in the back, maybe a garden patio. I worked longer hours just to give her what she wanted. When she said she wanted her own shop, I dipped into my savings, money I was putting aside for a second work truck, and handed it to her. No questions asked. I believed in her. She used to text me sweet little things during the day. "You're my rock. Couldn't do this without you. When I win, we win." It meant something. At least, it did to me. And then came the talk about putting the house in her name. At the time, it didn't even trigger a red flag. She said it was better for taxes, that her credit score would help us refinance faster. I didn't argue. I trusted her. Looking back, the signs were there, but they were buried under years of small moments that felt solid. She'd still cook my favorite meals, still lay her head on my chest at night, and tell me I made her feel safe. So I ignored the gut feelings, the late-night work meetings, the sudden business trips, the new passwords on her phone. I told myself it was just stress, that her business was growing and she needed space to focus. But deep down, the warmth was fading. I could feel it in her eyes, the way she looked at me like I was something temporary, something in her way. She stopped calling me her rock, stopped saying we, and eventually, she stopped looking back at all. It started with the silence. Not the kind that follows a fight, but the kind that creeps in slowly. Quiet dinners. Shrugs instead of answers. Her phone was always face down now. And when it buzzed, she'd glance at it, then slide it into her purse without saying a word. She used to ask me how my day was. Lately, she just walked past me like I was part of the furniture. Her boutique, which I'd helped her launch, suddenly became her world. She'd talk about expansion, collaborations, influencer meetings, all things I didn't understand, she said. "You're not in that space, babe. It's different," she'd say with a patronizing smile. She stopped inviting me to her events. And when I asked why, she laughed and said I'd cramped the vibe. The late nights became routine. Inventory issues, pop-up planning, photo shoots that ran late. But sometimes, I'd notice things didn't add up. I'd see charges on our joint card from restaurants in parts of town she never used to go to. $240 dinners, 2 entrees, expensive cocktails. But she'd come home claiming she barely ate. I kept the screenshots. Quietly. One night, I stayed up late in the living room, pretending to sleep on the couch. When she came home around midnight, I heard her heels clicking softly across the hardwood, like she was trying not to wake me. I heard her whispering in the hallway, low, gentle, a tone I hadn't heard directed at me in months. When I peeked around the corner, she was holding her phone to her ear and smiling, really smiling. I hadn't seen that look on her face in a long time. And it wasn't meant for me. Still, I said nothing. Instead, I began watching. Not accusing, not confronting. Just watching. I checked timestamps. I paid attention to excuses. I started keeping a folder, digital and physical. Every weird purchase. Every excuse that didn't match the calendar. Every sign that the woman I once trusted blindly was now leading a life I wasn't part of. Then, one night, it was around 2:07 a.m., her phone lit up on the nightstand while she was in the bathroom. Just for a second, I saw the name on the screen. Bryce, Hotel Tonight, Red Heart. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. I already knew. But that was the moment my silence hardened into steel. Because now, it was war. The moment I truly knew, the exact second everything snapped, didn't come with a scream or a fight. It came with a whisper, one I wasn't supposed to hear. It was a Thursday. She said she was working late, again. Something about a new brand collab and an out-of-town investor. But her tone had that fake cheerfulness she used whenever she was lying. So I waited. Not at home. I drove across town and parked near the boutique, hidden behind a row of cars at the far end of the strip mall. Her shop had glass walls. Wide open. I could see everything. She didn't know I was watching when she walked out the back door with a tall guy in a black blazer. Handsy. Close. Too close for work. They got into a black Audi, not hers, and drove off. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. I just went home. Later that night, she came back like nothing had happened. Kicked off her heels, gave me a quick kiss on the head, the kind you give to a relative, not a partner, and went straight to the shower. But she made one mistake. She left her work laptop on the table, open. I never checked her stuff before. Never snooped. But something inside me clicked. I sat down. Hands shaking. Heart pounding. I opened her email. She had a folder called Plan B. Inside were PDFs, contracts, title documents, including one draft listing our house for sale with her as the sole owner. There were emails to a real estate agent. She was asking how soon they could put it on the market and whether her partner could sign the closing papers on her behalf. The date on the listing paperwork? 2 weeks from now. Then I opened her texts, synced through her iMessage account. That's when I saw the truth. Bryce, once the house sells, we're free. He doesn't even suspect a thing. Tasha, I told him he's just dead weight. He looked like he believed it. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there, staring at the screen, while water ran in the background and the scent of her shampoo filled the house I'd bought for us. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just started printing, saving, backing up everything to a hard drive I kept in my truck toolbox. She thought I'd never find out. She thought I'd go quietly. She thought wrong. From that night on, I stopped being the man she remembered, the quiet, generous, predictable one. But I didn't tell her that. She still thought I was broken, distracted, weighed down by her insults. What she didn't know was, I had already met with an attorney. Not just any attorney, but a real estate specialist who'd helped one of my old Army buddies navigate a messy divorce. I brought the documents I printed. The deed transfer. The sale papers. The texts. The emails. He scanned through everything and looked up with a crooked smile. Good news, he said. She never completed the title process. Her name might be on the tax forms, but you're still on the deed. She thought she'd tricked me into signing the house away. But what she didn't realize is that the quitclaim deed she filed, it was never legally recorded. I had started the transfer months earlier, but due to a paperwork backlog and one missing notarization, it never became official. I still owned half. And that meant she couldn't sell anything without my signature. Step 1. I froze the title. My lawyer filed an emergency injunction with the county clerk's office. That locked the property. No sales. No transfers. No shady movement behind my back. The listing she had planned for 2 weeks out? Dead. Step 2. I called in a favor, an old friend who worked with a forensic accounting team. I asked him to do a quiet review of her business, just to see if anything looked suspicious. Within 48 hours, he called me back with a long sigh and one line. She's been funneling boutique funds into a personal account. If the IRS sees this, she's toast. I had the reports printed and notarized. Step 3. I hired a private investigator, clean, quiet, professional. No messy confrontations. Within days, I had photos. Clear ones. Her and Bryce at a spa resort in Asheville. Her using my credit card to pay for massages and champagne. Her kissing him in public, while texting me about inventory stress. Every document. Every screenshot. Every receipt. I stacked it all in a black folder labeled Exit Plan. And I waited. Not out of fear. Out of strategy. Because the worst kind of revenge isn't loud. It's legal and irreversible. 2 weeks later, Tasha was glowing. She thought her plan was finally falling into place. She started leaving real estate brochures on the kitchen counter, luxury condos, high-rise lofts in the city, beachside bungalows. She'd say things like, "Soon, I won't have to live in this fixer-upper anymore." And I'd just nod, like a fool still lost in heartbreak. But behind the scenes, the trap was already set. She called her real estate agent to lock the deal. That's when she got the first hit. The house had a title freeze. The agent said they couldn't proceed. Something about pending legal issues. She freaked out, accused the agent of messing up paperwork. But it wasn't the agent. It was me. That same week, she got another call. this time from the IRS. They were opening a formal audit into her boutique. Her business accounts were flagged. Her personal accounts frozen. All that side cash she was stashing away with Bryce? Gone. Her dream move just hit a concrete wall. She stormed into the house one night, slammed her purse on the counter, and shouted at me, "Did you do this?" I didn't even flinch. I just said, "I don't know, Tasha. I thought I was just dead weight, remember?" And then came the final nail. We went to court a few weeks later. She was suing to force the sale of the house, trying to claim full ownership, saying I gifted it to her. Her lawyer was aggressive, arrogant, but he had no idea what was coming. When it was my turn, my attorney handed the judge the full folder, the incomplete deed transfer, the financial records, the IRS complaint reference number, the surveillance photos, the text messages, all of it. Then, right there in court, I pulled out a USB and calmly said, "Your Honor, if the court would permit, I'd like to play an audio file." It was a voice memo she sent to Bryce, laughing smug. "He's pathetic. The moment I get that house in my name, I'm out. He'll probably thank me for leaving." The courtroom went silent. Her face turned pale. The judge didn't need more than 10 minutes to make the ruling. Ownership was split, and due to her attempt to fraudulently sell it without my consent, the court granted me full authority to retain the property. She had 30 days to vacate. No share. No payout. No appeal. She packed her bags again. Only this time, she didn't walk out with pride. She walked out with nothing. It's been almost a year since that day in court. The house is quiet now, but in the best way possible. I renovated it the way I always wanted. Turned the guest bedroom into a personal gym. Knocked down the old porch and rebuilt it with my own hands. Even started growing tomatoes in the backyard, something I used to talk about doing when I thought we'd raise a family here. Funny how silence feels different when no one's lying in it. As for Tasha, last I heard, her boutique closed down. The IRS didn't play around. Bryce disappeared when the money dried up. Her social media vanished not long after. No more filters, no more soft lighting photos about manifesting a new life. I guess the universe finally manifested something back. I won't lie, it took a while to heal. It's hard, learning that someone you loved was only ever loyal to your usefulness. That behind every compliment was a calculation. That behind every dream was a deadline for when they'd outgrow you. But I'm not bitter. If anything, I'm grateful. Because she didn't just betray me, she freed me. I don't build things for other people anymore. I build for myself. I read more. I sleep better. I laugh without wondering who's pretending. I'm not chasing revenge anymore. I caught it, and then I outgrew it. And if I could tell her one last thing, it wouldn't be, "I told you so." It would be this: "You took the house I paid for, tried to take the life I built, but you forgot the one thing I gave you for free, my trust. And when you lost that, you lost everything." She called me dead weight, but the truth is, I was the foundation. And when I left, the whole thing collapsed.